All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Salman Khimani. मैं आगा खान एजुकेशन बोर्ड का मेंबर हूँ और हम आप सबको आज के इस वेबिनार में खुशामदीद कहते हैं। uh, आज का जो वेबिनार है हमारा वो काफ़ी डिफरेंट एक वेबिनार है क्योंकि हम यूजुअली काफ़ी करियर्स के हवाले से वेबिनार करते हैं, लेकिन आज का हमारा एक स्पेसिफिक स्किल के हवाले से वेबिनार है जहाँ पे हम पब्लिक स्पीकिंग के हवाले से कुछ बातें करेंगे और इस हवाले से हमने आज दावत दी है दानिश तमानी को। दानिश, थैंक यू फॉर ज्वाइनिंग अस। मैं दानिश के इंट्रोडक्शन से पहले कुछ बुनियादी रूल्स बता दूं इस वेबिनार के हवाले से। दिस वेबिनार विल बी फॉर अबाउट 1 आवर, 1 घंटे का हमारा वेबिनार होगा। First 40 minutes दानिश between 30 and 40 minutes दानिश की presentation होगी जिसमें दानिश आपके साथ public speaking and speaking with impact के हवाले से बात करेंगे, and the last 20 minutes we would leave for question and answer from participants here, as well as we have participation on YouTube. वहाँ पर जो सवालात होंगे वो मैं दानिश के साथ मॉडरेट करूँगा। इन बिटवीन अगर आपके जहन में कुछ सवालात आते हैं तो आप प्लीज़ मुझे प्राइवेटली मैसेज कर सकते हैं, and I will take it up with Danish towards the end of the session. So let me just quickly move towards the introduction of Danish, and then I will request Danish to take it over from here. So we are very fortunate that we have Danish Damani with us today. Danish is a co-founder and chief executive officer of Orai, which is a public speaking app, and it has helped over 300,000 people speak more clearly and confidently with artificial intelligence feedback. Some of you might already know Danish is also a TEDx speaker coach. Outside of his work, he likes to spend time cycling, playing squash, and meditating. Danish is a public speaker and he speaks about various themes like fundraising, public speaking, storytelling, leadership, as well as building a LinkedIn brand. So we're very, very happy to have Danish with us, and I would now invite Danish to share his presentation, and then we will move towards the question and answer. Danish, over to you.
Thank you, Sir Salman, introduction ke liye, and welcome everybody to the session. Can I get some drum rolls, please? Thank you. I will start by sharing my screen and we'll dive right into the presentation. So as Sir Salman said, I'm Danish Damani, the CEO and co-founder of Orai. I have also done a TEDx talk, so you can find out a little bit about my journey. But in short, I was born in Pakistan, Karachi. When I was 7 years old, my parents moved to Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. And this is where I grew up. This is where I am currently, visiting my parents. And when I was going for college, I decided to go to the United States and study mechanical engineering. And always wanted to work for Elon Musk, either in SpaceX or Tesla. That was my dream job. But during one of my internships, a manager pulled me aside and she's like, Danish, you can be the smartest engineer in the room, but if you do not learn how to present confidently and clearly, you're putting a glass ceiling on your head. You'll never climb any higher. You'll never become a manager. You'll never become a leader. And I asked her, what should I do? क्या करूं मैं? ये skill नहीं है मेरे पास, तो मैं क्या करूं? And she said, go join Toastmasters. Toastmasters is a public speaking club, and I joined that, and I went there every single week. And after a few weeks, I realized that this is actually a learnable skill. Anyone can learn how to speak with confidence, how to speak with impact. And when you do, it opens up so many doors. Back at work, I was getting more buy-in for my ideas. I felt like I was getting more time with decision makers. And I said, this is something that I want everyone to have. And that is why I decided, forget mechanical engineering, let's do software and launch an app. And that is what I do full-time. So my full-time job is managing a team of 8 people across the world building an app. And this app is available anywhere in the world. So we have users across the globe. Over 300,000 people have tried it out to date. But today's workshop is on speaking with impact, mastering your elevator pitch. And just so I have a sense of who you are, I will ask you in the chat box to just give me one sentence. Give me one sentence of who you are. Are you a college student? Are you a young professional? Are you a high school student? Tell me, what are you? So I can better cater the presentation to you specifically. Great. So one young professional. And Samina said she also joined Toastmasters and got a certificate in leadership skills. And she's a good speaker. That's great. Going to be a uni student, a professional. This is good. So my first question is, why do we need to speak with impact? Why are you here? Why do we need to speak with impact? Just again, answer in the Zoom chat. Okay, Samina says, not a good speaker. And that's the goal. In the next 30 minutes, my goal is for all of us here to become better than the average speaker. Everyone here can speak, right? We all do our meetings, we all do presentations, whether that's in university, whether that's at work, whether that's in your Jamati Seva. We all are doing meetings and presentations. We all are communicating. And many of us think we are above average, but the truth is most of us are not. And some of these skills that we will learn today, at the end of 30 minutes, you will feel a little bit more better than what you came in with. So again, I'm asking the question, why do we need to speak with impact? Why is this important as a skill? That is what I'm asking. So one person said, so that you can motivate other people. That's a great skill. What else? Why is it important to speak with impact? अगर हम impact से speak कर सके तो हमारे को क्या मिलता? It's a great social skill. To stand out. Exactly. It attracts others. Yep. So that you can present yourselves and your words effectively. So let's take an example, right? Imagine you're applying for a job interview. And this interviewer is interviewing two people, two candidates. On one side, there is a candidate who is super smart. They have gone to a good university. They have good grades. They may even have good job experience, but they cannot speak with impact. They do not have the skills of confidence. They cannot present themselves and their words effectively. On the other hand, you have participant B, who didn't go to the best university, didn't have the best grades, but participant B can actually talk. They can speak. They can effectively communicate their ideas. As a recruiter, who would you give the job? A or B? Someone who can speak effectively or someone who cannot talk? And they're just smart. That's it. But they can't have those collaboration skills. Who would you pick? Again, I like that participation. Let's make this 2 ways and have your chat open. I'll be asking a few more questions as we proceed. Who would you hire, participant A or participant B? If you are me or you are someone who wants to value collaboration, team inside your organization, you will hire person B. Exactly. The one who has this skill of speaking with impact. That is why this is so important. This is not just a fun skill. This is not just a soft skill. This is not just something that is a nice to have. This is a must have skill, especially in today's world, in today's economy, where things are competitive, where we are in the virtual environment. It is so important to be great at this skill and stand out. And that is, again, why we are doing what we're doing today. So kudos to all of you who have decided to join this today, and those watching on YouTube either today or tomorrow. This is why we are here today. Speaking with impact, according to me, is these three things, the three C's, what I like to call: being confident, being compelling, and being concise. These are things that I repeatedly heard from leaders, from executives inside organizations when I asked them, what do you want your people to be? And they said, I want my people to be confident whenever they show up, whatever it's a meeting, a presentation, they're meeting me in the elevator. I want them to be confident, even when they're talking with customers. So confident is a big one. We are going to work on that. The next one is being compelling. Compelling is being someone who can convince people, meaning you can argue, you can put across your points and get people on your side. So that's what compelling is. And lastly, concise, also very important. Why? Today's world, we have people who speak around the bush. What does around the bush mean? They don't get to the point. They're just repeating the same words, repeating sentences, but not getting to the point. If you don't get to the point, people will not listen to you. And the whole goal of speaking with impact is getting people to listen to you. So these are the three C's. If you're taking notes, put them down, because these are the three things we are going to work on today. And before we dive right into the meat of the presentation, what I'm going to do is we're going to do a pre-workshop kind of recording. This is going to be your baseline of how you are today. After which, at the very end, we are going to talk about and do this elevator pitch again, so you can see how have you improved. So I'm going to put a link. Either you can record yourself on your phone, or you can record yourself in this link that I just shared, webcamera.io. You can open it in your Chrome browser, or you can, again, take your phone out and just hit record. And what we're going to do is a 30-second elevator pitch. What is an elevator pitch? An elevator pitch is talking about yourself. Who are you? It's one of those questions that everybody asks, whether you're looking for a new job, or you are going for a new role in an organization, or you get a new manager, a new boss, or your teacher asks you in the university, tell me about yourself. So take a 30 seconds, do a recording, and give me a thumbs up. Tell me okay when you're done in the chat box, and we'll continue from there.
Danish, we can't hear you, huh?
That's right. I'm just doing my elevator pitch as well.
Okay.
So everyone else, as they're doing their elevator pitch, I was also doing mine. So just to show everyone, you're doing a recording. You're just talking about yourself, and then just play it back. Listen to yourself. Ask yourself, how did you do? Would you hire this person? Would you give them a job? Would you give them a promotion? Ask yourself, and then we'll dive right into the content. Remember, this is just a first take. This doesn't have to be perfect. Literally just talk out loud, mute yourself and just talk out loud for 30 seconds. That is it. And just tell me done or give me a thumbs up once you're done. Don't make it perfect. If you can't record, that's also okay. Just a thumbs up after you're done talking about yourself for 30 seconds. The goal here is to speak. We're talking about speaking. And if I don't ask you to speak in this workshop, then it defeats the purpose, because practice makes perfect. The more one practices the skill, the better you get. Writing it down, watching someone else will not help you as much as you doing it yourself. So just do a quick about yourself and just give me a done. Great, we have Michelle who's done. Thank you, Michelle. Maybe in the comment you can tell me, how do you feel? How was that pitch, the first take for you? Or after listening to yourself, is there one thing you would change, you would improve on? Same with Samina. So those who are still doing, just wrap up. We'll move on for the sake of time. And you'll get another chance right after we talk about the meat of this presentation to do another elevator pitch. So let's go right into the meat. You did a pitch, that was your baseline. Now we're going to learn some skills, some tips and techniques that can actually help you improve that skill. The first big thing that I want to talk about is smile. Smiling is one of those easy, low-hanging fruits that we often forget to do. हम जब सोचते रहते हैं क्या बात करेंगे, we forget to smile. We're so focused on the content, हम क्या बात कर रहे, that we forget to even smile. And when you don't smile, you look very serious, you don't look approachable. But when you smile, you become more open to your audience. Whoever is listening to you will want to listen to you more. And also it makes you look smarter to them. So first tip and trick, if you're taking notes, write it down, smile. Number 2, eye contact. If you look at this photo, does it feel like this person, Oprah, is actually looking into you? Actually looking into your eye? Just look back at her, because that is the power of eye contact. When you make good eye contact with someone, it really feels like you're connecting with them. It makes you feel like you're like one with them. You're talking to them directly. Versus if I'm looking down, I'm looking up while talking to you, and I just continue talking, you will feel like I'm not looking at you and talking. It makes a big difference, especially in the virtual environment, because you don't have eyes, or maybe you're in Zoom and you see so many faces. Where should you look? You should look into that green dot, the webcam that is right over here, because that is the window to the eyes of your audience. So I'm trying my best. I have put the video panel right up front, right on the top near my webcam, so I can actually focus on you. If I put it on the side, then every time I'm talking, I will be looking on the side. So that's one trick if you're doing video calls, video meetings, presentations. If you really want to speak with impact, you have to make eye contact. You have to look into the other person's eye. And in today's world, the eye is in the webcam. So remember that. Number 2. Number 3, hand gestures. Now, yes, we are not on a stage nowadays. We are sitting in our computers, in our office rooms, maybe in our kitchen, maybe in our bedroom. But hand gestures are still very important. If you're noticing what I'm doing, I'm trying to bring my hands in this frame because this is the window that you see me in. I could leave my hands down and just talk like this, but you will get bored. And if you want to speak with impact, if you want to be convincing, you don't want to sound bored. So try and bring your hands up and make them useful. Don't just do random repeated gestures. Have gestures of your hands with purpose. With purpose. Like you see what I'm trying to do? With purpose. So align it to what your content might be and use it. So this is tip number 3. Look at the hand gestures. Tip number 3. We actually not just listen with our voice, with our ears, we actually are also visual learners. We listen through by watching someone else's eye contact, smile, and hand gestures. So when I say 3, it helps sink in my point. That is why hand gestures are also very important in speaking with impact. Next one, number 4, your body language. Maybe someone in the chat can tell me what is wrong in the body language that this person is having in this video call right now. Any feedback you would give to this lady here on better body language in a video, in a professional setting? You see how she is leaning like this? Imagine if I just gave the whole presentation like this. I put my hand like this and I'm talking to you. It wouldn't look so professional, right? Exactly. So what we want to do is be mindful of our body language. You don't want to be sitting on a chair, relaxed like this, with your stomach coming out, your head leaning back. That just shows you're not confident. That just shows you're not paying attention. That just shows you're not fully there. Instead, have what I like to call a straight back. Come in front, lean forward. Doesn't it feel like I'm coming to you? Like I'm really wanting to talk to you? I'm leaning forward. I'm not sitting back in my chair. In fact, I'm even standing right now because it helps me take out my voice even more. It feels like I am really present talking to you. So that's body language. Things to avoid is leaning on the side, or leaning back. Instead, have a straight back. Lean forward. I'm liking the comment. Someone says maybe she has itchiness in her hair. Maybe, but hopefully it doesn't stay for so long. Maybe it's an itch, just itch and take it out. Don't make it a habit and lean on your head. So I'm going to show you a video. Watch it and let me know what are some of the good stuff that this person is doing and what are some of the things that this person can actually improve on.
Scandals happen all the time. The question is, how do democracies respond to those scandals?
And what will it mean for the wider region? I think one of your children has just walked in. I mean, shifting sands in the region. Do you think relations with the North may change?
I would be surprised if they do. Pardon me.
That's right. Carry on.
My apologies.
What's this going to mean for the region?
My apologies. South Korea's policy choices on North Korea have been severely limited in the last 6 months to a year.
Great. So this was an interview, not a job interview, but a media interview on BBC. Imagine this was you. This was in a real job interview nowadays. What are some of the things that went wrong? Just again, put in the chat, maybe one thing that you felt this person could have improved on. And what is one thing that this person actually did really well? And I can start. One thing I think this person did really well is his body language is good. Do you notice how his back is straight? He's not leaning back on his chair. He is leaning a little bit forward. He has good lighting. So I think there's light coming on his face, which is great. Doesn't look dark, because when you don't have light, it can look like this, where a little bit dark on your face. Do not show embarrassment in front of the interviewer. That's great, because he did sound a little bit embarrassed. He sounded like, oh, sorry, sorry, sorry. Do not say sorry so much. It doesn't feel good. Samina is right. He did try and smile, which is great. Don't forget to not smile. Always have a nice smile on your face. And yeah, he didn't have hand gestures. Maybe when he's talking about North Korea and South Korea, he could be using some hand gestures. That is great. This is wonderful. Let's proceed. The next one is filler words. In the chat box, tell me, what are some of the filler words that you know of, aside from the ones that I've already written there, and Maybe we can count to maybe 5 different types of filler words that people use. And I can also start there. Filler words are things that are just filling your sentences. They don't add any meaning. And in fact, they actually hamper your credibility. They make you sound like you're not confident when you do like that. It just makes it feel like this person doesn't know what he's talking about or she's talking about. So Navyan said, or actually, yup. Michelle says, okay, right, so, exactly. These are also filler words. Others can be basically, or what millennials like to do is use like. Like I was like, doing this, and like they were doing like that. So using like a lot, is also a filler word. These are things that actually, again, hamper your credibility. You don't want to use filler words. And you're right. Sometimes you're thinking, why do we use filler words? Because we are actually thinking of what we want to say next, gather our thoughts for the next question, right? Especially in a job interview, or you just give a presentation at work and someone asks you a hard question. You need to think. No doubt. Please think about before answering. But here's a trick. Don't think by filling the air with ums and uhs and instead take a pause. Pause is the best way to avoid filler words. What is a pause? This is a pause. I'm not saying anything. If I need to think of something else, what I want to say next, I just pause. It's actually okay to pause. Instead of, trying to fill up your air with just words that are nothing, it's better to just take a pause. And if you think you're pausing for too long, doesn't matter. It's actually good to pause. Now, you might feel a pause might make you feel like you don't know again what you're saying, but trust me, if you're comparing it to an and you take a pause, you will sound much more confident. How do I know? I work with people on this thing. In fact, you can record yourself. Answer a question, record yourself where you pause before answering and where you say and before answering, and just play it back to yourself. And then look at yourself and ask yourself, which one sounded more confident? Which one would create a more negative impact in an interview? I can guarantee you is the one where you say filler words. Now, the other technique you can use is, let's say you are going to pause for 30 seconds, in which case it's very okay to tell the interviewer or anyone asking you a question, sir, can I take a moment to think of the answer? Can I get 30 seconds? Can I gather my thoughts? They will appreciate you. They will say, yeah, no problem, take your time. Because they know that if they give you time, you will give them a better response. and they want to get a better response from you. So it's okay to ask for a pause. Next up is pace. One of the biggest mistakes people make with pace is they just talk too much. They talk too fast. But our minds and ears can only listen at a certain words per minute. The ideal is about 150 words per minute. If you speak much faster than that, most likely things are going from one ear and just going above the head and coming out because you cannot digest so much information. And the trick here is again to pause. Take pauses. If you forget to pause, take a sticky note. If you have sticky notes, write down, pause, and just stick it on your computer. Remember to pause. And the other way to improve on your pace and go slower, and the reason we go fast is actually because we are nervous. When we are nervous, we're stressed, we go fast. And it can be anything. It doesn't have to be a job interview. It can be you reciting a farman in Jamaat Khana. You are standing in front of 100 people, 500 people. It's nervous. It's nerve-wracking. You get scared and you go fast until you feel you don't even have enough breath. Then you realize you're not even breathing enough. So many people, it happens. It's a real thing. It's a real fear. So how do you talk slower? The biggest trick is to actually remove that nervousness. And the best way to do that is to take deep breaths. And let's do that right now. We're going to breathe in for 5 seconds and breathe out for 5 seconds. So let's breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then breathe out. If you do this 3 times, you are tricking your mind to thinking everything is okay. No problem. Life is good. You will not be nervous anymore after doing it just 3 times. And you will become slower. Time will move slower for you if you do 3 deep breaths. Trust me, it's like magic. The next time you're getting ready for a talk, a presentation, a meeting, an interview, before that, make sure you do some deep breathing. And if you have moments in between when other people are talking or other people are collaborating, like when I give you time to practice, when I ask you a question, I'm sitting behind here taking deep breaths so that I shouldn't be nervous either. So that's pace. Remember to go slower. Slower is better. Next one is volume and clarity. There's so many times people will tell you, Samina, please repeat that again. Ali, I didn't hear you. Can you repeat that again? Or I didn't understand you. Why? Why does that happen? Because of volume and clarity. Either you're not speaking loud enough, you're talking in a hushed voice, very softly, with your mouth closed, you're not even opening your mouth. And clarity. Clarity is when you're not opening your mouth. Look, when I'm pronouncing my words, when I'm speaking my sentences, my lips and my mouth are actually opening. Many times what we do is we ourselves get lazy and we just talk. Like we don't make an effort to talking and it's just soft like this. Look, my mouth is not opening that much. And what ends up happening is sometimes you might skip out on what I'm trying to say. You might not understand what I'm trying to say. So with volume and clarity, open your mouth. If you want to improve on this skill, there are things you can do like tongue twisters. So you can go on YouTube and search tongue twisters and you'll come across many. They actually help you improve your volume and your clarity. Next up, it's your energy, or you can call it tone. What happens is, again, we're focused on our words that we don't take out the energy. If you're listening to this, you might feel, oh, Danish is an energetic speaker. Where is that energy coming from? What does energy actually mean? How do you become an energetic speaker? The thing I'm doing is, 1, I'm speaking loudly. Number 2, I'm varying my tone like a roller coaster. It's going up and down, up and down. What does not a roller coaster look like? If I'm speaking in a flat, boring tone, if I just continue talking like this, where I'm not going up and down, and I'm just answering your questions about nervousness, about speaking with impact. Today, we're going to talk about tone, energy, body language, smile, and hand gestures, and how it can help you master your elevator pitch and speak with impact. How did that sound? Do you notice that when I don't vary my voice, when I don't put in the energy like a roller coaster, it sounds boring. Again, it makes people not wanting to listen to you. You don't want that, because if people are not listening to you, you cannot speak with impact. So how do you work on this? You just have to be consciously listening to yourself. Am I sounding monotone? Ask yourself. Am I sounding flat? Ask yourself that. Instead, try and go up and down and vary your tone. Cool? And those were some of the tips. And that brings us to another elevator pitch. We did our baseline at the very beginning, where you were not aware of some of these skills, and now you are. We talked about smile. Don't forget to smile. We talked about our body language. We talked about our hand gestures. We talked about eye contact in the webcam. These are the 4 big things. And then we talked about filler words, no ums and uhs. We talked about pace, not talking too fast. We talked about volume and clarity, and we talked about energy. I know it's a lot of things to put in your mind. Maybe you can just decide to focus on one based on how you did your initial elevator pitch and try to improve that. Maybe it is just smiling. So make sure you do another elevator pitch, mute yourself. I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to do my own as well. And go. Do your elevator pitch, focusing on some of these skills. Okay, should be done with your elevator pitch now. If you're done, please in the chat box say I'm done. If you record yourself, you can listen to you back to yourself. Ask yourself, did I smile? Did I sound boring? Did I work on the things that I decided I want to work on? Did I not have any ums or uhs? Were you fluent? And the content doesn't matter, by the way. You can focus on the content later. You can improve your content later. The focus here is on the skill itself, because regardless of what content you are talking about, that's all right, because the skill that you're layering on is going to work for any type of content today or tomorrow. Okay, so let's move on. Let's wrap this thing up. At the very beginning, I talked about the 3 C's. In the chat box, do you remember what those 3 C's were? What is the first C? Can someone, whoever remembers it, put in the chat box? What were the 3 C's I talked about at the very beginning? Thank you, Navyan. Confident was one. Concise was the other one. And what is the third one? What was the third C? Does anyone else remember? Something about being able, exactly. So Salman just messaged me, said compelling. Audio general. We got the right answer. So these were the 3 C's: confident, compelling, and being concise. These are the skills that help you stand out, that help you speak with impact. And we just worked on all of them. We just worked on the foundations of all these skills. If you do a good smile, if you have the right body language, if you are talking in the right pace, if you don't have any filler words and a bunch of the other stuff that I talked about, you're going to sound confident, you're going to sound compelling, and you're going to sound concise. And the hard thing about this is actually putting into practice. You might be sitting watching this video today, but tomorrow you might forget. And so the best way to continue honing this skill and making sure it sticks with you for the rest of your life is by practicing, is by actually going aside from this, looking at your notes tomorrow, maybe rewatching this in a month from now, and actually putting into practice the skills that you learn. To help, I'm going to share 2 links, one with the top 10 job interview questions, and I want you to practice them. If you have a job interview coming up, these are great questions to practice on. And as you're practicing, record yourself. Just open your phone camera and record yourself, and then watch yourself again. Was I smiling? Was I sounding boring and monotone? Maybe you can even share the video recording with someone else so they can give you feedback. The other thing I'm going to put in is a 1-pager with tips, 1 PDF document with all the tips we talked about today. And I hope these 2 things help you. Aside from that, I hope you enjoyed this workshop, this webinar, this presentation. I also want feedback. This was a presentation for me. I tried speaking with impact, but I wouldn't know unless you give me some feedback. So I'll put a link in which you can actually share some feedback with me. And we'll open up to questions and answers now. I already got some, so I can start answering. The first one I got was, how do you sound knowledgeable? That's right. We spoke about some things that are your confidence. We talked about being compelling. We talked about being concise. But how do you sound knowledgeable? There are a few ways. The first thing is you need to know what you're talking about. Are you talking about artificial intelligence? Do you even know anything about artificial intelligence that you're just talking about it? If you don't know about the topic at hand, it'd be very hard to sound knowledgeable. But in a job interview, it's easier because all you're doing is talking about yourself. You are the best person to talk about yourself. You have every knowledge about yourself. That's the second part of how to sound knowledgeable, is actually using some of the skills we talked about. You already know who you are. You already know what your strengths and weaknesses are. You already know some of your job experiences. It's now about putting it across in an effective, impactful manner. So if you want to sound knowledgeable like that, you have to use some of the tricks and techniques that we talked about today. So those are 2 ways to be sounding knowledgeable. 1, know what you're talking about. And number 2, use some of the skills that we learned today. Another question I got is, are there any tips for people who have a habit of shaking their feet and hand? Yes. Why do we shake our feet and hand? Most likely we are nervous. I'm telling you, even if you think you might not be nervous, a lot of people are. We do get nervous. This is a scary thing. I'm talking to people. I don't even see your video. I don't even know if you're listening to me, or Maybe you're on Snapchat or Instagram or WhatsApp. I don't know. Maybe I'm staring at a blank wall. It's nerve-wracking. It's scary. But what one does is actually taking deep breaths. That actually helps a lot. So taking deep breaths is one way to avoid being nervous and therefore stop shaking your feet and your hands. Number two, the reason we're nervous is because we're afraid of making a mistake. Now that's very easy to fix. You can reduce your chance of making a mistake by practicing. Practicing makes perfect. Practicing is the best way to avoid making mistakes. And it doesn't matter if it's just speaking. It's for everything. Imagine you're singing a ginan. You might be scared of singing a ginan in Jamaat Khana, but we practice. You might see people outside Jamaat Khana practicing a waro that they might have, whether that's dua, ginan, farman, whatever it might be. They practice so that when they actually have to do it, they don't make a mistake. It's the same thing with job interviews. It's the same thing with presentations and meetings and conferences at work. You have to practice. So if you practice, you will not get nervous. And if you don't get nervous, you will not shake your feet and your hands. Another question. Does your appearance really matter with your presentation and your personality? Yes, your appearance matters. Look at me. I could have decided to be wearing maybe a banyan or maybe a vest. Imagine how that would look. You might think, this Danish, he's not even wearing good clothes. Or maybe he's not respecting us. There are some things like this can happen. So your appearance really matters. What if I didn't make my hair? What if my hair was all messed up like this? What would it look like? So make sure you make your hair. Make sure you're wearing good, appropriate outfit for the job. If it is a job interview, try and wear a suit. If it's something casual, maybe wear a polo, maybe wear a button-down t-shirt. It matters a lot. People actually judge you. Within the first 4 seconds, they're making decisions on who you are before when you open your mouth. So your appearance really matters. The other question I got is, can you briefly tell us how to start and introduce? Should you shake hands with the interviewer? Should you greet them? There's no right or wrong answer. You just have to feel it as you're walking into the room. But some of the best practices is first greet them. They might be sitting at their desk. You walk in, give them a nice handshake, a firm handshake, not a weak one, a firm handshake. Not too tight, not too loose, a firm one. That just, again, portrays confidence. And say, hello, sir. How are you? I'm Danish. Not, hi, sir, I'm Danish. Don't do it like that. Have it with confidence. Hello, sir, I'm Danish. Something like that, okay? And again, you can practice that. And then let them tell you what to do. They'll ask the questions and you just answer them. Any final questions?
Danish, there was a question earlier, and I'm not entirely sure if you covered that. Some people, and someone mentioned it, that some people have the habit of speaking very fast. They naturally speak very fast. So how can they control the pace of their speech while they are making a presentation or in an interview?
Okay, I didn't see that. If you are a naturally fast speaker, that's okay. The first step is actually knowing that you're fast. Maybe someone told you, Danish or Munir or Salman, you're a fast talker. That's the first step. Now that you know you're fast, let's make an effort to slow down. How do you slow down? Deep breathing actually helps. Try it. It actually works. After you're done with this presentation, just take 3 deep breaths, 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. You yourself will notice you're talking a little bit slower. Time moves slower. If you are less nervous, your body is relaxed. So that's one way. The second way that we talked about is pausing. After every sentence, Maybe take a 0.5 second pause, like what I just did right now. And I just did that again and again. Try and remember that. Be mindful of that. Take a half a second pause after every sentence. That also helps.
Great. So I'm just asking you questions that I had received privately. So another question was that if you sometimes say something which was embarrassing to say, how do you cover for that?
You say sorry. Actually, I'll give two answers to that. First answer,
Mani, did you also lose Danish there?
Yeah, yeah.
I think his Mani, would you be able to check from him if he is able to come back?
Yeah, I'm already contacting.
So if anyone has any last minute questions, please share in the chat box. Also, Danish has put in a couple of links on the chat box. If you want to study this further, please copy paste it and bookmark in your browser so you can refer to it later. I think Danish is back, so he will continue.
yes, sorry, my electricity went away for a brief second, so internet got disconnected.
Right. So we were discussing question on how do you deal a situation when you said something which was embarrassing, and how do you
Yes.
cover for it?
Yes. So the first thing I said was, most likely, no one heard you make the mistake. We are actually very critical of ourselves. And when we make even a small mistake, we tend to do like that or get scared or get nervous. But in 80% of the situations, no one noticed you made a mistake. No one thought you were embarrassed. So try and just go with the flow, just continue. A clear example is when I'm, let's say, doing a war in Jamaat Khana with, let's say, saying a Ginan, I make a mistake in the curry or in the tune, I just continue. Or if reading something, I make a mistake in the word and I say the wrong word or I skip a word, maybe I'll just say it or I'll skip it. That's it. So that's step number one. Like, most likely no one noticed the mistake, just continue. And number two, if it was a very serious mistake, people notice it, just say sorry and try and say that sentence again.
All right, great, Danish. I think I was just looking at my chat. Okay, so there's one more question. I think if you see this, what kind of courses you would recommend for teenagers? And I assume this is about public speaking.
If you are looking for public speaking help, there are many things out there. Like myself, I went through a lot. There's Toastmasters, so you can Google Toastmasters. There's a club in every single city out there. There will be one near you. You can do that. You can read books on public speaking. Just Google public speaking books. You can watch YouTube. And we actually have a nice YouTube channel. Again, it's free. So you can go there and I talk about some of these things, like how to be less nervous, how to sound more confident, how to start and end a speech or a presentation. So I can share that link also. This is the channel. And there's a bunch of other channels, not just ours. There are many YouTube channels where you can watch videos that have tips and tricks on how you can get better. So you can watch that. And of course, you can also try our app. That's another way to improve your skills.
Excellent. Danish, I think we've just reached about a minute to the end of the session. So, on behalf of the Aga Khan Education Board for Pakistan, I would really like to thank you for your time and such a wonderful session. I know we wanted this to be a little more workshop style, but hopefully once things do open up, we could have some in-person sessions with you with a live audience whenever you're here. I would also like to thank everyone who is here as well as who watches this later on YouTube. Please let us know. Danish, thank you for posting your email address. Those who watch it later, Danish's email address is danishdhamani@gmail.com. Danish, DHAMANI@gmail.com. If you have any questions, please do reach out to him. Those who would want to attend our sessions in the future, please subscribe to our email channel on Substack. It's called Career Substack. Those who would want to watch the recording later of this session again, or if you have missed parts of it, you can catch it on our Career Substack YouTube channel. So everyone, thank you very much, Danish. Once again, thank you. Really appreciate. Please have a good evening and take care.
Bye, everybody.